Okay, today I'm going to find a place for all my 4x8 sheets of plywood and melamine board and my 2-inch rigid foam board I use for cutting and partial sheets of plywood. I've got them all over here, and I usually do have several pieces. This is melamine and MDF. So today I'm going to, I cut off probably 2.5 feet of my shelf here, and I'm going to put them right in here lengthwise. I think that'd be a good place for them because they're going to come in that door onto this, you can't see it, onto this assembly table or off-feed table. It serves as both. I'll take them from the bed of my truck to that. Then I can roll it right up here, slide them off, stand them up. Probably ought to get a different view of that. Yeah, when you're running a shop, efficiency of movement is key. So anyway, coming in there, onto that, obviously those will have to go out of the way, and the miter saw stand, and then they'll come off of here and into that where you see that ladder. So I'm gonna kind of sketch it up on Sketchup. It's not really that big of a deal, but I kind of like to visualize it before I build it. So let's go. Now, if you're thinking building something similar to this, keep in mind that a 4x8 sheet of plywood and most sheet goods are 4 foot by 8 foot. However, the melamine board and the MDF board, they're 1 inch longer and I believe 1 inch wider. So take that into consideration if you're going to stand them lengthwise. Okay, what I did there is I just measured the height I needed to have my plywood rack. By the time I get it off the ground, it's going to be 2 inches. The plywood's going to sit 2 inches off the concrete floor. So some of these sheets, like I said before, are 97 inches long, and I want to have some clearance to push them back in there. I'm going to put a shelf on top. That's why I want to know that height. If I weren't going to do that, it wouldn't matter. I'd leave it open. But I am going to put a shelf so I can use that as storage. So anyway, on Sketchup, this is kind of what I'm doing here. So this is the first part of it. I will put cross pieces in here later. But my platform, like I say, is going to be 2 inches off the ground by the time I put a piece of 2x4 sideways or flat on the floor, and then put a 1/2 inch piece of plywood on top of that. So I'm going to build this back frame and then attach the front frame, and then I will do the middle partition. The final, let me grab that. Hopefully you can see that okay. That's going to be the final. This is the bottom, this is the top. Here's the back, this is going to go against the back wall. I'll have a middle partition in there after I build everything, and then I'm going to put these cross pieces in here at probably 4 foot and 8 foot, whatever. Just to have something for it to lean on, because you want your plywood to not warp or bend, so you want to keep them as vertical as possible, flat as possible. So we're going to get started. And mine, like I say, this is going to be 102 to the top. These cross pieces, I'll probably use those in the beginning and then take them off and put them in between, just like I did these. Just to save a little space. But so I'm going to cut my long ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that are going to be 102 inches. They all sit on the concrete floor, and they'll come up here, 102 inches. Okay, I want to catch 2 wall studs at least to attach this to the wall. I also want the rack away from the wall a little bit because I've got a cord running through here to a receptacle over here, and I don't want to be pushing the sheets of plywood up against the cord. So I'm going to put this board, attach it to those 2 wall studs. I've marked where the studs or the screws should go and where they'll go into the studs and where this piece needs to go. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that. And I'll do the same thing down towards the bottom. To hit it towards the bottom, I got to go under the shelf just a little bit to hit the stud that's going through there. All right, I'm going to build the exact same thing and attach it with those cross pieces 4 foot from the one we just attached to the wall. But I want my sheets to be completely inside it so that as you're moving things around in here, you're not hitting the edges of them and jimmying them up. So anyway, going to do some cutting. I'll let you know, but I'm pretty sure I want them 48 minus 7 would be 41. If you can see this board here that I put in here, I want to take that out because that's going to hold my sheets about 3 inches away from the wall, and I just want 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these 2 boards that I only cut 48 and cut 2 more boards that's 49.5, run them clear across to the board we first put on the wall, attach them, and take this out. And I think I'm going to take this one out. As you can see, I switched it around already, but I think I'm going to just take it out once I do that and just put probably, I'm going to put some kind of I want more clearance here. This is only going to leave me, I didn't figure right, and a 97-inch sheet of melamine board or MDF is going to be, this is only 1.5 inches higher, which it might be all right, but we'll see. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and take these off and replace them with ones that'll run clear to the first board we attached here, and then I can take this one out. Swap these out, like I said, so now I've got plenty of clearance. My sheeting is going to be inch and a half from the wall. I left that gap for the cord, like I told you before. And they'll also, this is exactly 4 foot, so the ends aren't going to be sticking out here where you can, if you're walking by or moving something by, you're not hitting the edges of them. And then I just put a few pieces of 3/4 inch plywood scraps I had laying around and screwed them on top. That way I've got that up there for storage. And it made it a lot sturdier. Now, oh, I'm sorry. All I've got left to do now is I'm going to put a middle partition in here, a floor on the bottom of it, just so when you're sliding that in there, it slides in smoothly. And then I'll put some cross pieces in here, like I did this one, probably another one at this height, and then another one down here just shy of 4 foot, for partial sheets. And we'll call it a day. plenty sturdy, it's not that pretty. That's